With this lesson, we're just going to be taking a look at what do you do when you're adding or subtracting scientific notated numbers when the exponents are not the same. So the first lesson on section 2.5, they were always the same exponent. This time they're different. Before we go further though, let's take a look at what it would be in standard notation. 9 times 10 to the third power would be the same thing as 9,000. So really we're adding 9,000 plus this would be 800. Well, 9,000 plus 800 is 9,800. How would we write this in scientific notation? It would be 9.8 times 10 to the third power. Now, that is one strategy that you can use when you're adding or subtracting numbers that don't have the same exponential power. But if this was 97 and this was 95, it'd be a lot more difficult to put it into standard notation. So this method works, and I would strongly encourage you to use it to double check your work when possible, but there's going to be other times where it's just not going to be the best option. So let's go through and look at what we can do here. Well, if I could somehow change this to be 10 to the third power, that'd be fantastic, because then it would be the same as this one. However, um, this decimal has got to change. If I made it 80 times 10 to the third power, basically if I just taken this decimal and slid it over to the right one spot, suddenly we'd have to add on 3 more zeros on top of it, and that would be 80,000. So 80 times 10 to the third, or 80 times 1,000 would be 80,000. That's way too big. I need it to be 800, right? See this right here? I need it to be 800. So moving the decimal to the right is not going to be a good option there. However, if I made it 0.8, this idea of just taking this decimal and sliding it to the left one spot, then that would let me increase my exponent by 1. So, here we go. We moved the exponent over here. Excuse me, not the exponent. We moved the decimal over here by 1. And then we just added 1 to that exponent, and that's how we get it to be a 3. Let's go through and see if this would actually make it 800, though. 0.8 times 1,000. Well, there it is, times 0.8. That would be an 8. And how many numbers do we have after the decimal spot? 1. So we'll put our decimal right there. Yeah, it works. It's 800. So that's what's happening there. You've got to find a way to change it to make it be the same. And then you can handle it the same way that we always have before. We can add our front numbers. So 9 plus 0.8 equals 9.8 times 10 to the third. Keep the same exponent there. You would slide this over 3 times, and you would get 9,800. Let's go through and take a look at this one. Different exponents again. So this is to the 7th power. This is to the 5th power. So all I'm going to do is write out the 2 and 3 times 10 to the, I'm going to go ahead and make it to the 7th power. I've got to raise this by 2, so I'm going to drag this over 1, 2. That puts a 0 in front of it, and there's my decimal. And now I can subtract the 2 front numbers. So let me just write this right underneath it, 0.023. That's what I've got, and just that way we can work it out using standard. I need to move the decimal spot over 7 spots, so it would be 4 more zeros. So it'd be 98,640,000. And then we have, let's see, 4 zeros here. And then the 2 and the 3. Subtract it, and let's see what we get. I've got 98,410,000, exact same thing. So at this point, it's taken 5 minutes to go through it to try and show you how you're going to have to change this exponent. Essentially, I would go to the number that's smaller because it's got the smaller exponent, and I would move this over the number of spots that you have to increase the exponent by. Go ahead and try these two practice and check problems. Hit play when you're ready. Okay, here's number 23. You'll see here that because I had to increase this by two by 2 powers, put that up to 10 to the 10th there. Had to increase this by 2. I'll slide my decimal over 2 spots to that front number. Now I'm free to add. It's the same as 5.1 times 10 to the 10th power. And then we'll slide down here and show you number 24 with a little bit more space. Had to increase this exponent by 1, so I slid my decimal over on the front number to the left 1 spot. That lets me be able to subtract my front numbers. That'll make it 6 times 10 to the 4th power.